welcome to Thursday night Inside Texas live show with my guy Nash Talks Texas. How we doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, brother?
I'm trying to get my mind to calm down after saying Texas so many times there in the span of a few seconds there. I'm getting back to it, man. No, doing well, brother. I do appreciate you guys. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and join Inside Texas on three for just a $1. It'll get you a part of us, part of the tribe, man. You can come hang out in the off season, almost to the end of SEC baseball play, SEC softball play. You've got all the fun stuff on for the golf teams coming up, and again, obviously all the off-season content, basketball, football, and everything else. So come hang out on Inside Texas with the guys. And let's go to the comments. No, you're not late, Chris. We just started this thing. We've been live for 1 minute and counting, brother. So appreciate you being here. I did notice you weren't there last night, and I was like, man, dude, I don't know if I made Chris angry or something's going on, but at the end of the day, no, we did go early,
I
very early yesterday.
I hear that you were gonna watch Top Gun if he showed up last night, but
That
all of a
was that
sudden
was
now,
that
damn
was
man,
cool.
wow.
I announced that in the first 15 seconds of the show. If Chris shows up and makes himself available in the comments, hey, I'm gonna turn on Top Gun. Sorry about that, Chris. We'll make that deal again further on down the line. Now, Chris is literally never gonna come back. We've made Chris mad, slander and Top Gun. All right, guys, appreciate you being here. Nash and I continuing the off season run of content. We're gonna talk a little bit about uh, gonna say a little bit about or talk a little bit about our opponents and kind of. I mean, there's a lot of difficulty in that schedule, man. You got 8 straight conference games after OU week without a bye in there. Obviously, you have Ohio State in the beginning of the season. You have Tennessee before Oklahoma. All right, Nash, let's have some fun, man. Again, not to make our rivals feel too good about themselves or some of these other SEC fan bases, but hey, man, who is going to present the biggest challenges for Texas? Give me the top opponent that you think in the schedule for 2026, man.
I mean, so off the rip, most people are just gonna sit there and assume it's Ohio State, but man, that looking at the consensus mock drafts, and look, the big boards that we're 365 days away from the draft. A lot can change. A lot will change, right? But as of right now, the consensus is pretty much it looks like LSU. LSU is going to be the big dog that we got. We got to go into their stadium. They got what I'm counting 7 prospects inside the top 100. I mean, this is they're going to be a big dog that we got to go out there and face, and it's going to be in a tough environment.
So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say watching the show. Do you think LSU is the most difficult opponent for Texas in 2026? It's got to be up there in the forefront of most people's minds, man, because it's not just like, oh, you're playing LSU, you're playing at LSU, you're playing LSU after a road trip to Missouri. That's starting a very tough November for Texas, where you have 3 or 4, games away from home in November. So for me, it being that late in the season, there's good and bad to it. Obviously, some of the cons is like, hey, you played a lot of conference games in a row. You're making that trip to Death Valley. But what does LSU look like at that point in the season? For one, I think LSU underperforms by, I'll say LSU fan standards and by the standard that Lane Kiffin has set at Ole Miss. And it's not because I think Lane Kiffin is going to fail or anything like that at LSU. It's just, hey, man, you got a lot of different pieces in year one. They've thrown a lot of things together. How does it look, by end of the year? Obviously, that's time for them to gel all together. And just like my guy Chris, I'm not exactly sold on Sam Levitt. I will say that Sam Levitt and Arizona State, that team with Cam Scatabo, obviously a tailback, that was almost kind of like a perfect storm because Cam Scatabo is not your ordinary Division I running back. Or really your ordinary person. I love
That's good. He's insane in the head, man.
Yeah, I mean, I
He's
called
not a
him
normal human.
I called him. I had a tweet that went pretty viral last year. I called him America's little psychopathic running back. That's what he kind of feels like. Everybody loved the guy, and this was right after the clip of him banging his head against the wall had kind of gone back around before draft day. But so yeah, man. Again, what does that look like for LSU that late into the season? Can they stay healthy? Again, we're talking about what we think personally is going to be the most difficult. Now I'm going to go ahead and brag for a moment because Nash, you've heard me say this last year, but I went into last season and said that the Florida game would be the most difficult game on Texas's schedule. Now, the way that it all played out, it probably isn't true, but at the same time, they handled us better than anybody, save Georgia. You know what I mean? But even in that game, it felt like Texas had a chance to win that in the beginning of the fourth quarter. I'm not sure at any point in the Florida game after Michael Taft wasn't able to pick up the early fumble on the first play from scrimmage that it felt like Texas was going to win the game. We were fighting from behind, fighting from behind, fighting from behind, and sometimes we're way behind. Now in the Georgia game, we make it a 4-point game. You have multiple third downs on that drive. You can't get them off the field. Hey, so. But yeah, back to the Levitt talk, just real quick, and after I'm done bragging on myself, I'm just saying I'm not convinced yet because of Sam Levitt. Levitt was so good in the second halves of games after defenses had chased and tried to tackle Cam Scatabo for 2.5 hours already. And then his backyard style of football when these defensive linemen are so worn down. And again, you didn't see Sam Levitt have really any success whatsoever against Texas until very late in that game. After they had a really, really big play to Scatabo and everything, which Levitt didn't even make that throw on the 4th and 2. It was just halfback toss pass that I believe was it over Muhammad? They got completed, but yeah. So, anyways, my point is that I'm not convinced. Just like Chris Nash, what are your thoughts? Sam Levitt, are you a believer? What do you think his upside is? Maybe as far as being amongst his peers. Which peers are he going to be amongst?
Man, honestly, I got to defer to my thoughts that I had on him going in, like not only going in, but when we had the game after. Going in, I had a lot of respect for Sam Levitt. I was like, man, this is a guy that we got to really watch out for. But the Texas defense just shut him down, and it's one of those deals where it made me wonder, like, was he overhyped? Like, was he an overhyped quarterback? And I think that's a perfectly fair question to ask. And
Well,
I think he is overhyped. Like, because I mean, really, when you look at that game, like without Cam Scatterbu, they just get blown out. Arizona State, like they get completely just walked around the stadium. Cam Scatterbu, he's the one that had the 4th down pass for a touchdown. He's the one that really, to that mentality that you talked about, just that psychotic nature that he plays with, that instilled a lot of life into the Arizona State ball club that night. And
they still had to have like the big plays that went along with. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, like they were hanging around, but it was still like if they don't have a big play somewhere here or there, and sure, it was him. He made a couple of them, late in that game.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on Levitt at this point, but I think that there's enough talent around him that that's why I think that LSU is probably going to be the toughest team that we have to face. Just the overall talent of the team, and then you pair that with, I mean, it's hard to imagine that I'm not even if LSU is a team that they haven't performed up to expectations. They're lower ranked in the year. That's going to be a game that their fans show up for, and it's hard for the SEC. It's hard to see the SEC or even ESPN, not make that a night game. It just feels like Texas going to LSU,
Guaranteed.
the canceled trip, everything that goes with it. The last time that LSU and Texas played was in
Arch
2019.
Manning from the area.
Yeah, it's like it's just like the and then you're gonna have the Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin reunion. Like it's just like with everything that goes along with it. It's both. I think both teams would have to be just performing like 5-win, 6-win seasons to not have that a night game. Like that game just, if there was a game that you told me, hey, what games are you willing to put your money on for night games? I'm putting a lot of money on Texas A&M Texas and LSU Texas. I think that those are the ones that you can chalk it up to. These are primetime games.
And this was terrifying a little bit, man, because we have another really cool environment, and it's not to get off the LSU discourse because I don't think this next team is going to be the toughest opponent we see, but Tennessee in Neyland Stadium, like that. How do you not make that a night game? UT versus UT, the first conference game of the SEC season for both schools. Like, you know what I mean? And so I don't want Texas playing 3 away night games. You know what I mean?
Look,
Like,
I don't. I actually, if I'm being honest, I don't think that Tennessee is going to be the most. When I think of Tennessee having their best environment, whether you think that this is just like a gimmick or not, man, I think their best games are when the sun's out. You see the checkerboard in the stadium, right? Like when I'm thinking about Tennessee as an environment, football environment, I rarely think of a night game. To be honest, I had
Fair.
never thought of it until now, until you mentioned it. I,
I
I think that they might be at their best during the light, man. They're the opposite of a werewolf. You know,
there you
when the moon comes up, they go into hiding.
I mean, hey, that's a long day of Neyland Stadium beverages, to wait around till kickoff and keep your juice, and the voice all together. Again, real quick on Levitt, obviously he's played other football outside of the one game we're talking about with Arizona State and Texas back in that Chick-fil-A Bowl and quarterfinals 2024 playoffs. I just need to see more as a passer. But at the same time, how much time is he going to have? What will this LSU offensive line look like? Because that's been their major Achilles heel over the last couple of seasons. It's been O-line play. They've been terrible outside of the tackles. They've been awful on the interior. And hey, we sit here saying this knowing we were awful on the interior last year. There he is. But yeah, so I just need to see more of it. And then also don't know how they're going to be able to run the ball as well as Kiffin probably wants to run the ball. And then also I'm just not convinced that from a pocket passing standpoint. But again, it's Lane Kiffin, this instant offense. He's probably going to find ways to get it done. But hey, does Levitt limit that upside? Doesn't mean that that's not going to be a really, really tough opponent for Texas. I mean, I think environment alone is going to make it a difficult place to play. And yeah, that's the thing, man. I do not trust what they have on the O-line as of right now. I do not think they're a national title contender. But there are other people out there that definitely know ball and seem to feel a little bit differently. So I guess time will tell there. Me personally, I am not going to go with LSU as our toughest opponent. I do not trust Sam Levitt. I have questions about the depth on defense. Don't love the offensive line. And then just year one, whole brand new you ride for Lane Kiffin. Obviously, Blake Baker returns on the defensive side of the ball, and I think he's fantastic. I'm going to go with, and I hate to do this, I hate to give him any credit whatsoever, but I'm going to go with a team that hasn't scored a touchdown on us in 3 of the last 4 seasons. There he is. See, sometimes Josh and I, we get along. Sometimes we get in here and we have the similar opinions. And does that mean that I need to recheck everything I think I know about my life and myself? Probably so. Just kidding, Joshy. OU is going to be our toughest opponent. They're much better on the offensive line than they were a year ago. Now, why I say much better is a lot of the same guys, but it's going to be a lot more experience, and they definitely got better towards the end of last season. I personally think that it's a big upgrade that they're switching to the outside zone, wide zone run game scheme. I think that's going to be big. I think it helps material a little bit. I also don't love wide receivers, obviously, that they have, but it's still an upgrade in the portal, or from the portal. And then but getting rid of a couple of coaches that I think they're way past due to get out of there. I think that probably helps their offense a little bit. We know about Brent Venables and the defense. That defensive line is going to be rock solid. I think they're probably going to be a little bit better at safety than they were a year ago, which is a problem. Hate to say it, man, but you got to think there's going to be some extra added motivation to win that game anytime you play, right? Texas, Oklahoma, OU, Texas, red, burnt orange. I mean, of course, the adrenaline's up. Everybody wants to win that a little bit more. Imagine not scoring a touchdown in 3 of the last 4 damn times you played those guys. Coming in that game off a bye week, I just think it's going to be very, very difficult. Texas is going to have to play good football to win that game. Texas is going to have to play better than they did in 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, in my opinion. Some of those games are layups. Let's keep it real. Let's be honest about it. Oklahoma did not have a quarterback in 2 of those matchups. With all due respect to Mr. Hawkins, should have been starting the quarterback in that game. So yeah, we said it. The longer Venables is there, the more powerful he's going to get. This was going to be his best team, in my opinion, at Oklahoma. And it's going to be a hell of a game. Tough battle. Nash, do you heavily agree? I know you don't heavily agree because you got LSU as the toughest. What do you think, man? Is that next on your list? Is that further down the list? Does Texas just own headspace in OU land right now, and that's why you don't have that one there?
I mean, and this isn't me just trying to talk trash. I got to see it from Oklahoma. I'm not worried about them not having motivation to come show up and play. But man, I mean, you last year they escaped multiple games where they really should have lost. They should have lost to LSU. If they don't have an LSU defensive back fall on a shoelace, I mean, they lose that game, and they honestly probably lose their playoff spot. And then Texas slides in. They honestly
LSU
without
Tennessee.
Yeah,
I mean, you
without
could
a
go on and on.
without a trick play where, like, I mean, they can look. You got away with it, right? Congratulations, right? Like, it's just it is what it is. But y'all designed an illegal play and y'all got away with it, and that ended up scoring for y'all, right? The referee he got caught. He just wasn't paying attention, and it's one of these deals, man, where they really they should have been like a 4 or 5 loss team last year, and I think they got away with some really lucky wins. I got to see it before I believe in them. I just and that's not even trash talking or anything like that. I know it's easy to see me of all Texas fans you know not
Yeah.
having a positive view on Oklahoma, but I think that their defense is going to be really good. I mean, if for nothing, that Brent Venables is a good defensive coach, right? Like that's not debatable. I got to see it, man. And
I
honestly,
get
it's
it.
one of
I
those
get it.
things. It's one of those things where I want John Mateer going into that game healthy. And this is now trash talk. Is I want to see him healthy so that if and when Texas goes out there and wins again, that there's not the excuse of, oh, he had the thumb injury and now he just got back. Like, it's one of these deals where they had some excuses last year. We'll have to see how it works out this year. But man, I think that the strength of their team is on the defense, and I really got to see something on the offense before they start worrying me.
Man, I hope you're right, Nash, because again, I kind of thinking like Josh here. I do think that Oklahoma's going to be
I mean, they're going to be motivated. They're
absolutely.
going to
And
be
again,
really motivated because this is like I think that this is also going to be one of those games that sorry to cut you off, but I think this is going to be one of those games that almost defines Brent Venables' career to Oklahoma. If he loses this game, that seat gets hot.
but depending on what he does everywhere else, you know what I mean. I'm not saying I disagree with you, but if he goes and wins 10 games again and gets in the playoffs, so I can tell you right now, you fans they're not gonna lose too much sleep over it. But again, man, like they're going to be better on offense. How much better? I think you'll agree. We will agree that they're going to be better, but it's just like how much of a step that can they take? Joshy, I kind of with you, man, and I hate that. I hate how much I kind of like Oklahoma next year, and it's not exactly because I think the offense is going to light things on fire. Their offense was putrid at times last year. But when you're giving up 14 to 17 a game, like we talked about a week ago on the show, you're going to be in a lot of games, man. Like it's going to be hard to have anybody run away from you when you have that type of defense. So offense doesn't necessarily need to be world beaters. It's kind of thing we talked about with Texas and the O-line, when you have all this talent around you, your offensive line. You don't have to be perfect, man. Just be a serviceable group that doesn't get yourselves beat. You know it again, but hey, I don't know if I can agree with that. I don't believe we play another playoff team except OU. I don't know. What do you think, Nash?
Man, I'm not gonna. I might agree with that. I mean, it's gonna be tough because you got Ole Miss. They look like they might be, but I think the jury's still gonna be out on if their coordinator can actually be a legit head coach. I mean, often a lot of times when you see like a guy like a hire like that, where a guy like Lane Kiffin gets hired away, and then somebody else steps up in his place. Man, I really like it's tough to say because you haven't seen him as a head coach yet. Really, like when you're taking over as a coach on team in the middle of the season where there's a lot like everything's already been like set. You already know the routines. You're basically like you're babysitting the kids for an hour. Let's just call it like that, right? It's just, but it's one of these deals. Now he's got to be the parent, right? He's got to go. He's got to set the bedtime. He's
Yeah.
got to let them know when to do the homework.
Yep.
I think the jury's still going to be out. I think Ole Miss is talented enough to definitely be a team that makes it into the college football playoff. But man, and as much as I hate to say it, I feel like the second team that is, if there is going to be a second team that we play that's going to be going to the college football playoff, it's the Aggies. Like, I mean, it's our rivals, man. Our rivals are probably two, and I probably should be saying LSU, but I do agree with you that I don't think LSU is going to have a really good year going into I think year one, Kiffin's going to run into a lot of these problems that coaches have in year one. It doesn't matter how talented your team is, but I just do think that due to their talent and then the environment, that's going to be the toughest game that we play.
Yeah, I get it. No, I mean that's fair. It does. It's the same thing as saying like, hey, you don't think that, like some years, like think about like mid 2000s, like Big 12s. It's like, okay, like we're gonna play some of the K State and these schools. A&M maybe at the end of the year at Kyle Field will be the toughest environment you play, whether they're 4-8 or they're 12, 11-1. You know what I mean? So no, I definitely get your point right there. Real quick, guys, we're gonna hear from Dre the lawyer, and then we'll keep it rolling here on Inside Texas.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results: Andre the lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
Gio, I'm going to pop that comment back up. What games are you worried about, man? I'm curious to hear what you have to say. I'm sure I would assume that LSU is probably one of them, maybe Ohio State. I just think combination of both sides of the ball, continuity of the coaching staff between Brent Venables and a lot of these guys having, it's not Lane Kiffin and a new regime at LSU. I know Blake Baker's coming back for year 3. It's not Josh Heupel and Jim Knowles and a new DC there and getting them. What do we get in the 4th game of the year? You know what I mean? So that I'm just further explaining why I do have Oklahoma. You know what I mean? I think that Texas matches up a lot better with Texas A&M right now. So yeah, again, I hate to feel that way about OU. Trust me, I really, really do. Environment, it's a good environment. Is it tough to win there? Hey, Texas 7-3 since '95. Baton Rouge is going to be more hostile. I definitely agree with you there.
Suck that. Something.
Yeah. Again, though, I think like the A&M fans will be, I don't know, it's a different type of hostility. Like they're going to hate us, but LSU is just going to be louder, more ferocious. I don't know. Either way, it's cool. Texas has both of those road trips and Neyland Stadium. I mean, like this is what we signed up for when we joined the SEC. You want to play those type of matchups, play in front of those types of crowds. It's really cool to sit there, obviously, watch your school, your team, be a part of those things. So, Ole Miss, or something. Ole Miss is dangerous. OSU for sure. LSU tough. Yeah, and again, I get it, man. I'm selling on LSU. Again, we've already said that. I've got LSU going at 8-4. But hey, if they rattled off 10 wins, would I be surprised? Absolutely not. It's just like, man, you start to really go through this, and it's like there's going to be some tough matchups. They're going to play in some close ball games. Same for OSU. I like getting them early. Lost a lot of their top end firepower last year. I like Texas's top to bottom, our 2 deep. I'll say I like that a lot better than Ohio State's, at least early in the season. Now, Ohio State always has a guy or 2 or 3, sometimes 6 that come out and surprise you, and you're like, man, I thought we had an advantage in this matchup on the field here, and little do we know they've got another first-round draft pick sitting there waiting. And we kind of saw some of that in the last matchup up there in Columbus. But
I think Ohio State, man, I think Ohio State falls into the Georgia category for Texas. And not to say, because Georgia obviously is going to be a more talented team than Ohio State next year. But I think Ohio State's just like, you got to get the monkey off your back.
I can see
I think
that.
It's going to be more of a mentality deal than like actual talent coming into the team, coming into play us.
That's fair. Now, I will say it's like it feels like when we've played Ohio State, they're on you for that one. They're on you for that one, Joshy. They're coming for you. Yeah, I agree. I do think it's a little bit of an insane take. I think that between you're really at that point, you're betting that Ohio State, Tennessee, LSU, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Florida, like all of these schools, that none of them win 10 games is what you're betting at that. So I think that's pretty wild. But Josh, you're welcome to keep sharing your hot takes, my man. But yeah, I mean, again, with Ohio State, it's like I like playing them early. they're going to be, probably a different animal come playoff time. Some of you don't believe they'll be in the playoffs. We'll see, though. I mean, they got a lot of talent still that we haven't just learned about yet, as far as what they can do on the field and what expectations to have for some of those guys. So curious to see Sayan, though, what type of jump he makes. That's going to be a big tell on whether they're a playoff team or not. But there's going to be one of those teams outside of Oklahoma or somebody else. There's multiple playoff teams on this schedule. I mean, just take a look at it. Now, in y'all's eyes, it's 9 wins. Is that like 9 wins on Texas's schedule? Would that be playoff football worthy in your eyes? Now, again, it's going to come down to who the 3 losses were against. I mean, you can't probably go lose to another team that's sub 500.
I don't think it matters. I think the committee has already told us it doesn't matter. Because if Texas loses to, let's say, A&M, right, instead of Florida, does that mean Texas is a playoff team? I think that the committee has set a pretty hard line that if you get to 3 losses, you're done. Because I mean, the two of Texas' losses last year were to the best team in the country, Ohio State and Georgia. Yeah, Florida happened, right? But it's one of these deals that the committee told us, Steve Sarkisian and Ryan Day went into that game thinking, okay, the loser of this game doesn't get punished. Texas got punished last year for losing to Ohio State at Ohio State.
But people want to say it was Florida, you know what I mean? But I mean, at the end of the day,
I get that, but if we beat Texas State instead of playing Ohio State and you're in game 1, we lose 2 games. One of those which is to Georgia, the other one's to Florida, right? On the road in Florida, and both are on the road. All of a sudden, the conversation's now like, oh, well, it's not the Texas law. People aren't saying, well, y'all lost to Florida, right? Okay, y'all have a hard time on the road, right? These are all going to be neutral games. Texas, the conversation shifts a lot. I think that until the committee shows us that they're going to honor what they say doesn't mean a lick of it. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
they have to follow their guidelines before it starts to matter.
Because I mean, you got to look at how these losses play out too. It's one thing if you have 3 losses and they're to all elite teams, but you got your shit kicked in, all 3 times. You know what I mean? One of my biggest cries was the season before last. South Carolina and their 9-3 record, in my opinion, should have been in the college football playoff. If you want to go back and we can have a whole show about that, but have a loss to Alabama without Lenore Sellers in a really close game, have a loss to LSU, which they didn't. They lost Lenore Sellers in the second quarter, and there was some interesting officiating going down the stretch. We'll just say that. And again, it's the SEC. We're going to have that week in and week out. Any fan base.
By a total of 5 points in those 2 games. By a total of 5 points.
LSU, Bama without Lenore Sellers. And I want to say those were back-to-back or within a span of 2 out of 3 weeks. So again,
4 weeks, there's a bye week in there.
Okay. So the committee doesn't give a shit. That's long story short. If they didn't, it'll be a new committee. But will they ever value how these games played out? Because if you watched Texas Ohio State last year, if you watched Texas and Georgia for 3 quarters and a few minutes, you would have never in your mind thought oh, Texas isn't a playoff team. And especially Texas outplayed Ohio State. Texas 110% outplayed Ohio State. And if that game was played again the exact same way, you know what I mean? Texas is going to win that game 7, 8, times out of 10. So again, credit Ohio State. It's a good program. They have our number. But 10 is the correct number. Josh is right. You got to get to 10 and leave it no doubt. You can't leave it in the committee's hands.
Just look at Texas had Kirby Smart sitting there on the podium, sitting there saying this is a playoff team. I don't know what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
He was like, there's no debate. Texas. He said they had played Ole Miss. Trying to look at all the other teams that they had played. They had played Ole Miss and Alabama, where there were 2 playoff teams that they played. He without hesitation said that Texas was the most talented and was the best team that they'd played, and that they were the hardest opponent to play. It's one of these deals. Yeah, you have to get to 10 wins. It doesn't matter. And honestly, the dirty little the elephant in the room that I don't know if anybody's real. It's not an elephant in the room. Everybody's not trying to address it, but honestly, my tinfoil hat theory is that the committee isn't really a committee. and that they're literally just looking at BCS rankings, and they're just going off the BCS rankings, doing small tweaks every now and then to a BCS ranking. But if you look at it, by and large, the top 12 teams that they put into the playoff are those follow what the BCS rankings say. Because like you have the people that say, hey, this is what the BCS computer would say for this year. And they have matched up almost 1-for-1 exact. So it's just one of these deals where I don't think the committee's doing anything really. And it comes down to you got to get it to that 10-win mark.
Yeah.
If you're not at 10 wins and you get in with 9 wins with 3 losses, a bunch of other good teams have 9-3. Like it's just got to be one of those weird years.
Sorry, Josh, I didn't mean to pull that down. No, I agree with you, man. Like you just get to 10, leave no doubt, get there. 10 wins, and everyone's going to say you're deserving, especially with the schedule that Texas has. But yeah, every year the criteria is different. This year and last year was most deserving. 10 wins, 2023 was best teams. Now I agree with you there because obviously we saw Florida State, Travis Hunter, them being left out of the college football playoffs. Why does that not continue to happen? Like, why are we allowing, how's it most deserving? Like South Carolina lost their quarterback for 2 games. They don't deserve, again, I understand, I don't know if you sit there and you can weigh every injury into play, because when you start looking at more than just quarterback injuries, things like that. But again, it's interesting, man. It is what it is. I feel like those guys just make me want to bang my head against the wall. It's going to be like that. So, all right, we're going to hear
We got to get rid of the. I was going to say we got to get rid of the auto bid like that. That's just
it's killer. There needs to be
the feel good story is already it's over, and honestly, it ruins it for the actual Cinderellas that will come into, because then when you get a team that's actually deserving of that spot, now the national consensus on them is going to be, well, they're just a little freebie like Tulane and James Madison didn't belong anywhere near that playoff.
And I'm not disagreeing with Nash or Josh. Yeah, I think you do have to have a committee. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just like if you're going to go off the BCS, just have the BCS. Like if you're going to go off that formula,
I'm fine with that. Just tell me that's what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, again, 2008 didn't feel good, being left out over OU. But if you start going and looking at that thing, and OU scored 60 in a row, like 5 straight games. I mean, again. Long way. I'm still torn. That was 18 years ago. I'm still pissed. All right, we're going to hear from David McClellan, guys. We'll be right back with more schedule talk and just overall how good these opponents are going to be.
Big financial decisions don't have to feel overwhelming. There's someone who can guide you every step of the way. David McClellan is a fiduciary financial advisor with Forum Financial, and he's working closely with his clients as a true financial life coach, guiding every aspect of your financial journey with expertise and care. If his name sounds familiar, that's because David was a swimmer at Texas and a member of several national championship teams. Today, he channels that same championship mindset into helping people win with their finances. David specializes in financial planning, and he's contributed numerous articles to Kiplinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. And right now, David is offering viewers a free intro consultation to assess your financial situation. Do not miss this chance to get personalized guidance from a trusted expert. To schedule your free consult, email David at dmcclellan@forumfinancial.com, or you can call him directly at 312-933-8823. The contact info is in the description.
Marley, I like this. Caleb Downs is arguably top 3 to 5 favorite college football player of mine ever. That dude he brings new meaning to like quarterback of the defense. I'm very, very confident about the Ohio State game. I feel great. I also felt great last year, and I'm not punishing myself for feeling great because Texas outplayed Ohio State. Again, very beginning of the show, I sat here and said I thought Florida going into last year was the most difficult game on that schedule. Obviously, I felt pretty okay about Texas's chances with Ohio State. Texas is, I don't know about smoke Ohio State, but they're gonna send a message. Let me tell you this: Texas does not beat Ohio State by double digits. I need to stop, Nash. Cut me off. If Texas is not, I have all the respect in the world for Ohio State. Do not get me wrong. I have a lot of good Buckeye friends now that I never thought I would have. it is a perfect storm for Texas to get a little clap back on the Buckeyes. If Texas does not beat Ohio State, cut me off, Nash. If they do not beat Ohio State by double digits, I will fly. Where's the game next year? Is Columbus or is it Ann Arbor? I don't care. I will go Ann Arbor or Columbus for the game. I will paint my body full Ohio State red. All right. I did this last year when we lost to Georgia. I'll do it again. I swear.
It's in Columbus.
Texas.
It's in Columbus.
We're going to blast them. All right. No, I feel good about the matchup again. A game I felt Texas probably should have won last year. Credit to Ohio State getting it done. They have our number. That's the deal. Y'all heard it right there, Marley. You can hold me to it. We don't, and I know you're on the same side as me, brother. So if you want to jump in here and paint your body red, it's not going to happen.
I don't think he's joining that one.
No, come on, Marley. Let's have some fun, man.
I will say, anytime that you've ever put you put
the track record is strong, Nash.
When you put a big confident bet out there, like for example, last year, you said we're going to beat A&M, and if we don't beat A&M, you're going to dress like one of those milkmen.
I posted that
marching around the
day
campus.
after we lost.
The day after,
the day after they beat Notre Dame. That's what it was. The day after they beat Notre Dame. Posted that like 9:00 the next morning. That defense, it's an Elko defense, sure, still had plenty of holes. And that offense versus Texas's defense, like, yeah. And again, so yeah, I'm not trying to brag. The track record is strong. I feel good about it. Now I have lost a couple, probably
notably run down the beach.
yeah, but that was a good thing. Texas won the game. So, but that tells you anything about how I felt about our chances going to overtime right there. Okay, all right, Joshy. I'm not gonna. Oh God. All right, man. So yeah.
Hey, at least it wasn't Taco Bell burrito.
God, Lord. Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, those wagers will get you trouble out there. You got to be careful. Not trying to ignore this comment, Chris. Obviously, a ton of rain expected around these parts tomorrow.
I wouldn't say so. I think if anything, it just delays Friday.
Delays Friday. Yeah, shout out Lounge Dog being in town. The Mississippi State Bulldogs. Going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun at the dish.
My belly's going to be full, brother.
A lot of good food. I hate I had to miss out on some lounge action today, but I know they got lunch plans tomorrow. I'm gonna try to go see them. Cotton Bowl is a highway to the danger zone for Texas. So, I mean, man, I think it's gonna be a tough game. I think it's gonna be tough again. We're gonna be really dang good. I fully believe that. I truly do. Last year, a lot more hesitant about saying that. I never once came in here and said, hey, we're guaranteed to go win this conference. We're gonna have a Heisman Trophy winner and a national title to go with it. Feel a lot better this year. Still a long way to go, man. Just got to see things on the field.
That one went right over your head. Obvious movie reference, dude. We'll never know.
Which one? Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah.
Is that another?
It's literally another... It's like the theme song for Top Gun.
My gosh, I just have no idea, man. First team that loses a poop bet. So we've had we've had Florida State. Who else has done this? There's going to be somebody out there that absolutely just wrecks their team's karma and sends them on a downward spiral. It's going to happen, man.
That dog poop bet from Florida State, they haven't been the same since. They've never. Just go lick the turd, man.
Speaking of haven't been the same since, I mean, St. Bill can't. The K-State hadn't exactly been tearing it up either. Again, man, gotta love the old social medias. If y'all are all like, what the hell are we talking about? Well, there's a lot of people on Twitter that get on there and make really dumb bets, like myself. That's how you run naked across the beach when Texas.
You've never done one that stupid. Look, of all, I think of all the bets, the burrito one was like, we're good. We don't need to see that one.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we actually don't need any evidence or proof that this was, followed through upon. Like we're good on that one. A lot of these other things, it's like, man, no, you have to go do that. Like,
we need to see somebody lick a dog turd.
And I will say this: I've legitimately lost like 2 or 3 of these in the 5 years I've been on Twitter, and I probably won 12 to 15. I still owe X a video of me rage singing Taylor Swift because I was guaranteed the Niners would beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That second game they played. Man, they had them too. That was tough. Anyways, so feel good about it, man. Going to be a fun season. Very difficult schedule. Didn't Baylor have one? I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if some Baylor fan said something silly on all social media. We'll see. I got questions about Baylor this year. I think they underachieved with my guy Sawyer Robertson last year, but Yeah, man, we'll never forget the old K-State owning Texas for a while there. Ron Prince stomping up and down the sidelines at DKR the year after he upset number 3 Texas in mid-November, and they hurt Colt McCoy. Texas obviously loses to A&M the week following anyway, but no one really talks about how close Texas was to playing the Natty in 2006. Following the Natty, they won in 2005. Everything happened so perfectly. Texas, if they lost to K-State 45-42. If Texas handles K-State, Colt McCoy will say he plays healthy against A&M. Texas probably beats A&M, and you're playing in the Big 12 championship game. All the dominoes fell. Texas would have played for another Natty. So I got big beef with Ron Prince and K-State and the fake punt that they scored on in that game. I think they scored on a fake punt. They blocked a Texas punt. They ran a double pass, or they ran like a halfback toss pass for a halfback pass for a touchdown. It was a wild college football game, man. I'll never forget where I was. And then the next year, they came to Austin. So check this out, Chris. You'll appreciate this. Trying to be a good big brother. And my brother's never been to DKR. My brother in time is in high school. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take the little brother down to DKR. This is back in the day, so you didn't, you could get away with needing directions for something like and having them printed out. So I can't remember what we all used for directions back then.
MapQuest. That's the one you had to print them out.
So
make sure you got the printer going.
I even like printed out, like I had been to DKR too, but I'm just no, I was in high school. He was in junior high, so like I needed directions. We're coming from East Texas. I tell my brother we're going to Waco to watch a game, go to a movie and watch a game at like a restaurant, and they had like to take us in the glove compartment. I'm like, hey, can you get the directions? He's all excited.
That's where you got the passengers sitting there reading off directions, and if they miss a turn,
yeah,
start braiding them.
And so like he's all jazzed up, he's riled up, and so my brother's first ever game at DKR, he goes in there and watches Jordy Nelson go for like 180 and a couple of touchdowns. He ran a punt back. Texas blasted, and to top it off, it rained for y'all who were at DKR that day. Remember that game? And that was the first year of the updated DKR in the south end zone, was it the north end zone? North end zone. Yeah, where they had completed the renovation, and the stands were on top of the field, and we sat in that end zone intentionally because we were like, well, we want to check it out. Poured half the game. My brother's phone got drenched, never recovered. Texas loses by 3 touchdowns, and we're just like, well, welcome to DKR and Texas football, my man. But yeah, glad to see Texas having K-State's number, even in the years where we weren't like very good there at the end of the Big 12 in the Charlie and Tom Herman years. Like we still owned K-State. So Vince Young was on the sideline that day, and that was 07. Yeah, that wasn't a lot of fun, man. That was tough. That's when I learned Jordy Nelson's name, and I never forgot it, man. Hey, I hope so. I hope you're right, Marley. That's what we need, man. Whew, that's a tough one. Brother's first Texas game was a Will Greer, West Virginia 2-point conversion. I'm telling you right now, my brother does not have the luck that I have with Texas football. He has not. He's seen a lot of Oklahoma wins. He watched Kansas win at DKR. The only time he's ever watched Texas and Kansas play. He watched Baylor beat Texas in the 90s. I want to say 97 when Ricky was there.
Same brother that we went to last few times with.
Yeah. Casey does not.
Well, he's had a better record recently. I'll say it's. Remember, we just got to have that one little piece of that red Subaru go with us.
There you go, man. You just got to keep the momentum. But no, man, that's going to be about it for us tonight, guys. I do appreciate all you guys sticking with us and hanging out here late night on Inside Texas. Nash, I appreciate you, my man, doing this with us. Plenty of time to talk about our opponents in this schedule, man. Again, it's going to be difficult. We'd like the trend line of where this program is headed. But hey, there's other programs that have good things going on as well. We'll see. We'll see who end up being right on the most difficult opponent. Nationally, probably LSU. I think Oklahoma. Hey, man, depending on the week, I might change my answer, to be honest with you, because that LSU trip it's going to be gnarly. A lot of fun games in there. So God bless being a part of the SEC, man. It is a lot of fun, these matchups. So appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. Throw a like on the video if you haven't done so. But Chris, Joshy, Marley, Gio, all you guys have been in the comments throughout the show, man. Really do appreciate you guys helping us keep going and giving us topics and keeping the conversation fresh, man. So y'all have a good rest of your evenings. I'll be back here on Inside Texas on Sunday, and we appreciate you watching. Have a great night.